Welcome back. Today, we're jumping into a concept that's a huge deal for your GCSE computer science exam, iteration, and specifically, we're looking at condition-controlled loops. Getting this right is absolutely key to writing programs that actually work. So let's get into it.
Okay, just picture this. You're trying to log into a website. You type your password. Nope, wrong. What happens next? The little box just sits there, waiting for you to try again and again. And it's going to keep asking you until you finally get it right. Well, that simple, maybe slightly annoying process, that's the perfect real-world example of a condition-controlled loop. The computer is repeating one single action, asking for that password, based on one single condition. Is the password correct yet?
So let's get the official definition down, the one you'll need for your exam. It's called a condition-controlled loop, and it's pretty simple, really. It's just a block of code that keeps on repeating as long as a specific condition stays true. Now, the really important part here is that we have no idea how many times it's going to run. Is it going to take you one try to guess that password or 50? Who knows? The loop doesn't care. It just keeps on chugging along until that condition is finally met.
Now, before we get our hands dirty with actual Python code, we've got to talk about pseudocode. This is super important for your exams. Think of it like a sketch or a blueprint for your program. It's how you map out all the logic and the steps before you even start to worry about all the specific punctuation and syntax of a real programming language.
And here you can see that jump from plan to action perfectly. Over on the left, we've got the pseudocode for our password example. It's super clear, right? While the answer isn't computer, you keep asking for the password. Simple. Then on the right, you see a basic Python while loop. It has the exact same core structure. You've got the keyword while, you've got a condition it needs to check, and then you've got that indented block of code that it's going to run.
To really get this, we're going to put that little Python coconut example under the microscope. Let's break down exactly what the computer is thinking, step by step, every single time it goes around that loop. This kind of detailed thinking is exactly what's going to get you top marks in your exam. Okay, so let's follow the logic. First, step 1, we create our variable, coconut, and we set it to 0. That's our starting point. Then, the computer gets to the while statement and performs step 2. It checks the condition. Is coconut less than 3? Well, right now it's 0, so yep, 0 is less than 3. The condition is true. Because it's true, we move to step 3 and run the code inside the loop. It prints clip-clop. And now, here comes the most important part of the entire process, step 4. We update the variable. Coconut is now 0 plus 1, which is 1. And then, whoosh, the program zips right back up to step 2 to check that condition all over again.
And so, the cycle repeats. Now coconut is 1. The computer checks. Is 1 less than 3? Yes, it is. So it prints clip-clop again and updates coconut to 2. Back to the top. Is 2 less than 3? You bet. So it prints again and updates coconut to 3. Okay, here it is, the moment of truth. The program goes back up to check the condition one more time. Is 3 less than 3? No, it's not. 3 is equal to 3. It is not less than 3. And just like that, bam! The condition is false. The loop immediately terminates. It's over. The program breaks out and just moves on to the next line of code.
All right, let's talk about something that trips people up in exams all the time, because it's such an easy mistake to make. I'm talking about the dreaded infinite loop. This is what happens when your loop's condition never, ever becomes false, so it just runs forever. And ever, usually until your program crashes. Being able to spot these is a crucial skill.
The official teacher's guide has a bit of a laugh about this, and I think it's a brilliant way to remember the danger. If you accidentally create one of these infinite loops, what are you going to get? Well, you're going to get infinite lulls. It's a funny little warning for what is actually a pretty serious programming mistake.
So why does this happen? Let's look at this dangerous piece of code. The condition is while 1 equals 1. Now, let me ask you a question. When is 1 not equal to 1? The answer is never, right? That condition is always going to be true from the beginning of time to the end. And just as importantly, look inside the loop. There's absolutely nothing in there that could ever change this fact. So the program gets stuck printing lol over and over and over again forever.
Okay, so we've looked at a really simple loop. But in the real world, in actual programs, you'll pretty much never see a while loop all by its lonesome. They're team players. They're almost always combined with other things like functions and variables and user input to do something genuinely useful and dynamic. Let's see how that works. Check out this little piece of the spam function from the guide. You see that after some other stuff happens, the code creates a random number between 0 and 99 and stores it in the variable num. Then our while loop kicks in. It's going to print R repeatedly, adding 1 to num each time until num finally hits 99. The key thing is, we have no idea how many times it will print that. Why? Because it completely depends on what that random number was at the start. It could be once, it could be 50 times. This is the perfect job for a condition-controlled loop.
All right, let's boil all of this down into a quick-fire revision checklist. These are the absolute, must-know, non-negotiable facts about condition-controlled loops for your GCSE exam. If you can lock these 4 points down, you're going to be in fantastic shape.
First up, the condition is always checked at the start of the loop, before anything inside it runs. Second, you use a while loop when you don't know ahead of time how many repetitions you'll need, like waiting for that password. Third, and this is so important, something inside the loop has to have the power to eventually make that condition false, which leads us straight to our final point. Always remember to update your counter variable. If you forget that coconut equals coconut plus 1 line, you get infinite clip-clops and a broken program.
So, I'll leave you with a little challenge, a classic exam-style problem to chew on. Now that you know how these loops work, how would you use one to do some input validation? Imagine you need to make sure a user enters a number that is strictly between 1 and 10. What would your while condition look like? Give it some thought. It's the perfect way to test what you've learned today. Thanks for joining me, and I'll see you in the next one.